know that our building focus is for increasing vocabulary, and then also from our MAP scores too. So we wanted just to show you a couple of strategies and along with a video, and I have a website to show you too. But so why do we want to teach, why is it important to teach vocabulary? Not everyone at once.
They can use it.
They can use it, right?
Out there.
There's a lot of research that shows that high vocabulary will increase their, coincides with their reading comprehension. So we want them to be able to speak and then be able to read. So we know why, but then, as a teacher, I know that you guys are already, you have tons of stuff on your plate. So it's not like we want, this is another thing to put on your plate because you're already doing these things. We just want you to integrate it more effectively. So one way is through read alouds. And so I have some read alouds to share with you. And I don't know if anybody used these before this, I'm going to be talking quick, but Max's Words or The Boy Who Loved Words. You guys ever seen these? So these would be a great way to introduce vocabulary, because this is a little bit higher level, this one's a little bit lower, but they're both about boys who collect words. So you could introduce, like, okay, what do you collect? Do you collect stamps? Do you collect Pokemon cards? What do you collect? In both of these stories, they collect words. Max, a short and enchanting word to his collection. And then throughout, they have little words just on the pages, just interesting words. I don't know, it's pretty cool. On the back, there is a glossary that has all the words in it. But in this one, he's trying to find out his purpose in life, and he finds out his purpose is to share his words with others. So it's just a great springboard of, like, okay, you're going to start collecting in your classroom, and like Michelle had said, then they could collect. And I have on the website an example. It's for upper grade students, but I think you could still do it in your classroom. In their Powerful Language tab, they're going to be word collectors. So these aren't necessarily words that you're dictating to them. We want to give them choice. So when you're doing those read alouds, bring them to the carpet, have them have their writer's notebook, with them. And then they can, when you're reading, then they can write down stuff that is interesting to them. They might, give them that choice. And then they can go back and illustrate it, put meaning to it, and there's an example of that. This to introduce words, Amelia Bedelia. Have you guys used this? I just did Amelia Bedelia with 2nd grade, and they love her. And I will tell you, not nice, but I'm like, she's kind of a nut job, and she really is. So in this book,
they understand what they understand the story.
Yeah.
In this book, Folks, Grand, Lemon Meringue Pie, Pinch, Rolled, Snip, Dust, Dusting Powder, Drapes, Icebox, Unusual, Dashed, Trim the Fat, Dress the Chicken. I had to show that picture because, she dressed the chicken. They thought that was hilarious. So what I did is I just read this really quickly. It took me 3 minutes. I just jotted these down. So when you're doing your read alouds, it might be a little bit more purposeful to read it to yourself, and then maybe write down some words that you think that they're not going to be familiar with. Then you just have that background knowledge for yourself. You're prepared to discuss and talk about it. We will. I'll just read you a little bit. Mr. Thompson said, "What's all this hubbub about?" Mrs. Bell said, "Lulu's been trying to razzle-dazzle me with some kind of lippity-loppity jibber-jabber, and now I'm all helter-skelter myself." Mr. Thomas raised his eyebrows. "Tut, tut, sounds like silly willy hocus-pocus to me." Mrs. Bell's mouth dropped open. She pointed to the principal and said, "Eka-freaka, Lulu's got your tongue all topsy-turvy too." So it's the story of this girl, I don't know, and then they have to get it all together. So just a great way to see how words are fun and just multiple meanings and get them interested in words to say.
When I'm reading independently, they could put a word in one of those. And if you don't want to put it on the actual notebook, have them use a sticky note. Because then during writing, they can go back and revisit that writer or reader's notebook to get some of those words, and hopefully then that will help with their writing. In your classrooms from this article?
On the 2nd page, it says the tier 2 words are the most important words for direct instruction. And that's kind of what I've seen in the classroom. It's kind of, they don't really make the connections they need to. It's more like, okay, let's stop and talk about this as a class. It is more that direct instruction thing that needs to happen for them to understand that.
That I just talked about. So these look familiar. And then there's tons of stuff out there, but I tried to link some things that I thought you'd be interested in. So either there's like the book video on YouTube or a lesson plan or some kind of activity. So these right here are links. And then this is a link to the library catalog that will show you some resources. These are like some of the handouts that Michelle has already given you. some other, like this is that text talk, that's what we were kind of going through, and this is what the video, this is the video that we were going to